Hello, everyone. We are on week 12 of the third annual SGS podcast, and we'll look into week 13 projections as well. But we're going to first off do a recap. Got a new setup here. We are now dual monitored up. Got a monitor for Black Friday, so it's going to make it a lot easier for me to manage everything with my streams and stuff like that, which is great. So, but go on ahead. We'll go ahead and start off with Bryce and Jace. So this was a big matchup coming in. Both teams needing to win. And Jace's team prevailed. Big week for them, which Jace's team could go off any week, but just because of the running back group that he has. But big game for him. Kyler Murray with 25. Kyler Murray is looking like a must start at this point. Sam Howell as well is a must start too, but I like Kyler Murray more than Sam Howell, just because I feel like he could get more points every week compared to Sam Howell. But Sam Howell has proved me wrong this year. I mean, he's 4 in QBs, but Kyler Murray is averaging more than him, 24.4 points per game since he's came back. He's dropped 22, 25, 25, so he's been pretty consistent since he came back. We look at McCaffrey, big week for him once again. He continues to take that number one spot in running backs, just because of how heavily involved he is in this Mike Shanahan offense. So he's going to continue to prevail. Josh Jacobs with a big week, which was something that you really needed after putting up 5 and 11, which are kind of down weeks for his standards. But 20 came back, played very well, had that big touchdown to start the game. Nico Collins, Chris Godwin. Godwin's been a disappointment this year. Definitely has not been playing up to his level. Mike Evans has kind of taken control as that wide receiver one, which I was expecting Godwin to be wide receiver one there this year with Mike Evans getting older, taking a little bit of a downturn, but he hasn't taken one at all. So continue to start Mike Godwin. I mean, not Mike Godwin, Chris Godwin. I do know that you don't really have anyone on your bench to start over him. So, I mean, I would just continue to start Godwin. Hunter Henry with a 0 ball, typical. He either will go for, I mean, if we look at him, he's already had this is his second donut of the year. He's just very inconsistent, just like New England's offense is. Don't believe in their offense whatsoever. Alvin Kamara almost met his projection, but you'll take 14 from him any week. But yeah, big week for him right there. We look at Bryce's team. Brock Purdy didn't really play as well this week, but I mean, I think they just got up pretty fast. He wasn't really used as much this week. Christian McCaffrey was running the ball like crazy. Rachaad White went a little bit down for his projection this week, but I would still continue to start him. Must start option going forward. Isaiah Pacheco with the big week. Stephon Diggs played very well too, which I would continue to see that. With the same with Amon-Ra too. Amon-Ra didn't meet his projection, but it doesn't matter. 14 is still a good amount of points. Really just what beat you is Purdy not putting up a lot of points. And Jace's running backs just went off this week. Nico Collins went off too, played better than any of your wide receivers played. The flex position, you didn't get nothing from Dalton Schultz too. I forgot to mention him, which is kind of a surprise. But I wouldn't be too worried about that going forward. I think he'll still continue to be heavily involved in Houston's offense. Gus Edwards, definitely a little bit concerning, just because of how split the backfield is. But I would continue to probably start Gus Edwards because he will be that bell cow running back going forward for them. He will get the goal line work. Other than that, yeah, it kind of sucks having Jaden Reed put up 13 on your bench. It's almost at this point, Jaden Reed's looking like a start every week. He's put up 3 straight weeks. Very great production with 13, 17, and 16. Don't want to say he's wide receiver 1 there because there really isn't a clear wide receiver 1 in Green Bay yet. But Jaden Reed has played great these past 3 weeks, so he could be a starting option for you at flex going forward if you do not believe in Gus Edwards. But that's a little bit of a toss-up, totally up to you. We look at T. Higgins. He is questionable this week too, so that's another person you could maybe throw in there. I just do not like Cincy's offense, so that is a risky play. But yeah, Jace, big win for you. Blew him out, won by 40. Jace is now 7-5. Bryce goes to 7-5. So Next up, we got Dylan versus Connor. Looking at this matchup going in, I did think it was going to be pretty close. I don't really remember who I picked to win this matchup. I don't remember. I might have picked Connor. But looking at the QB play, I mean, Dak Prescott went nuts. Definitely played and performed well on Thanksgiving Day, and he continues to do it. I think at this point he is now 4 in QBs, putting up 38, 19, 45, 35, 39, 33, 30. He's just been on a clinic, and I don't think he's going to stop. So I will say this, though. So Seattle, I believe he'd probably play pretty good against Seattle. Philly, he could play good with them as well. Doesn't really have too tough of a matchup going forward, but continue to start Dak Prescott. He's just playing very well right now. Austin Eckler, another disappointing performance for Austin Eckler. I mean, the Chargers are just a shit show. I'm very shocked by how bad they've played this year. I do believe they are going to make a coaching change at the end of the year. I don't see why they wouldn't. Just because they have all the talent on their team to play very well, but they're just not doing it. So, I mean, you obviously got to continue to start Austin Eckler. I mean, he could go for 20 any week. Alexander Madison, disappointing. Not really high on him at the end of the season. He could still have a couple good breakout games, but you're going to probably have to continue to start him. I mean, you could start Chuba Hubbard over him, but that's just a toss-up, too, with a split backfield there in Carolina. Michael Pittman with a good week. Michael Pittman will continue to stay consistent. I don't see why he wouldn't. Definitely the number one option in Indy. Gardner Minshew likes to throw that pigskin, so I wouldn't be too worried about Michael Pittman at all. I mean, I don't think you should be worried about him the whole year. I mean, he's just been very consistent. He did have a stretch week 4 and 5 where he only put 4 and 7, but if you look at his last few weeks, he's just a very consistent player. Continues to put up double digits, continues to get a high target volume, 14, 5, 13, 8, 12, and then he had 13 this last week. So as long as you're getting that amount of targets every week, you're going to produce. So Romeo Doubs, definitely disappointing. Evan Ingram. Continue to start Evan Ingram. I do like him at tight end. Puka Nacua with a disappointing week. That was a weird game. The Rams definitely ran the ball very well. Kyron Williams had a big day. I mean, Stafford also did pass very well too. Got 2 passing touchdowns to Tyler Higbee and then 2 passing touchdowns to Kyron Williams. So it was just a very odd week with them not really using Puka or Cooper Kupp that much. So that was definitely very odd to see that game. But I wouldn't worry about that too much going forward. They're still going to be viable starting options going into next week. Patriots defense played well. Really what brought you down was your running backs, man. Running backs definitely hurt you this week. Jared Goff had a pretty decent week, I would say, even though they did not play well against Green Bay. They should have won that game. They just did not come out playing well. Didn't really seem like they had a lot of confidence coming into that game, which is very odd because they've been a very good team all year. But Jared Goff had a pretty decent week. Saquon, definitely disappointing. That was just probably one of the worst NFL games I've probably ever laid my eyes on. Saquon, with the amount of volume he's going to get, I wouldn't worry whatsoever. He is still a must-start option every week. Najee Harris is starting to come to life. We were very low on him just because of the Matt Canada situation, but he has started to produce better towards the end of this season. He's put up 15, 17, 14, and 14 within the last 6 weeks. So, I mean, he's definitely starting to get some touchdowns. He's starting to run the ball better. And with Matt Canada gone, I would continue to see some production from him. Yes, I know it is a split backfield with him and Jaylen Warren, and I do like Jaylen Warren more. I think he's more talented, but Najee Harris could break out at the end of this season. I think they're going to continue to run the ball with him a lot. Jalen Waddle had a great week. Just blew out the Jets. Jalen Waddle I've been high on all year. He's kind of had a down year for his projections. But I will say this. He's still a must-start option every week with how high-octane that offense is. Drake London had a good week, too. Drake London finally had I think it's been a while since he's had a decent week, right? Yeah, I mean, he had 5, 8, and 8. Had that injury in week 9. Definitely number one option in Atlanta. Atlanta's just a weird team, but I would probably continue to start him. You could also start Josh Downs, but we'll get into that. TJ Hawkinson with a big week. Got the touchdown late in that game. Only touchdown in that game. That was another really bad game to watch. A lot of the primetime games this year have just been shit. Definitely have not been good. Christian Watson with finally a pretty decent breakout game. He hasn't had one all year. So it's good to see that Christian Watson finally broke out, had a touchdown in that game. Continue to start him going forward. But other than that, yeah, looks like Matt Amendola just got fucking booted from the who'd he play with? I'm sorry. He played with the Texans. So so he's gone now. Seahawks defense played pretty decent against San Francisco. That was a very risky start. I'm kind of surprised by that. But I mean, they put up 8. It's not bad. But anyways, Dylan, man, got the win. Very happy for you, man. You're now 6-6, so he is in the playoff hunt. Connor Calavan will still be in the playoff hunt, being at 6-6, but man, it's going to be a tight race. We'll get into that later. Next up, we got Kyle versus Seth. Both teams desperately needing a win. Both teams bottom of the barrel this year. Just a lot of unlucky for Kyle, a lot of unlucky for both teams, actually. Seth, injuries have plagued him all year. Kyle putting up great numbers, just not playing the right matchup against people and losing to teams that are going off. I mean, that's just how it's gone. But we look into this, man. I mean, the very disappointing one was Tua. Tua didn't play that well, surprisingly, against this Jets offense or defense, which the Jets defense is good. But the 2 interceptions, the 1 fumble, I mean, that's what really hurt you. Derrick Henry with 20. And I do agree, there's a guy that I watch on YouTube that talks about Derrick Henry a lot and says, if it's a good matchup, Derrick Henry's going to play well. If it's a matchup that Tennessee is not favored in, most likely going to lose, you're not going to see Derrick Henry at all. It's kind of how it's been all year. When he has a good matchup, he's going to play well. As long as they're in the game, he's going to play well. He's going to run the ball. But if they're playing a team that is really good, as you could see, their stretch coming up, I believe, is very hard. You got Indy, which you could start him against Indy. That could be a close game. But Miami, Houston, Seahawks, Houston again, Jacksonville. You look at these last few weeks for him, and with this Titans offense not looking good, Derrick Henry's not looking too good either. Jeff Wilson had to start him this week. Didn't have any other running backs available since Kenneth Walker was hurt. You could have maybe started Royce Freeman, but I don't mind the start with Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson didn't play bad. But Jeff Wilson did. I would have started him anyways just because of the fact of that Miami offense, but did not play well. Terry McLaurin didn't play well. Curtis Samuel had the breakout week. Sam Laporta played pretty well. Got 15 for you. Deontay Johnson was 7. The Giants defense was 13. Nothing from your kicker. Look at Seth's team. I mean, really the bulk of the team kit got carried by Dolphins defense, Mike Evans, and Jordan Love. Huge week for Jordan Love. Jordan Love starting to look like a must-start QB now. He's definitely been playing very great as of lately. We look at his stats. He's dropped 31, 27, 22 the past 3 weeks. He's starting to come into form. This Green Bay offense is looking a lot better. So looking at their stretch going forward, very tough defense in Kansas City. Could play very well against the Giants. Could play pretty decent against Tampa Bay. Could play very well against Carolina. So he's got a couple good matchups coming up. Kansas City's definitely going to be a tough one, though. You could continue to start him just because of how hot he's been, but you could also go pick up another QB if you have a spot to fill. You could maybe drop Logan Thomas. Let's see. Brian Robinson, James Conner did not play well. But Mike Evans and Brandon Ayuk played pretty decent, so that was a good option. I mean, honestly, the defense for the Dolphins carried you this week. Getting 24 from a defense is unheard of otherwise, unless it's Dallas. So huge week for the Dolphins defense, man. That was very impressive. Great win for Seth, man. 4-8 now. Kyle is now 4-8. Man, we are going into the last 2 weeks, and we still don't have a definitive last place person. So definitely have a couple people fighting for that last place spot right now. Next up, team that went off this week. as well as Andy's, but Chance's definitely went off this week too. And we can just go ahead and start with why, and it's because of Josh Allen. Josh Allen has just been an absolute monster this year fantasy-wise. Their team hasn't looked great this year, but man, what a performance from him, putting up 46. Travis Etienne with only 10. He did get hurt in this game, did come back. Must-start option going forward anyways. David Montgomery with the big week this week, took over. Definitely played better than Jahmyr Gibbs this week. I still think both are must-start options going forward. Christian Kirk and Tank Dell, loving the receiving core he has so far. Christian Kirk's had a pretty decent year. Tank Dell has had a breakout season for his rookie year. Definitely continue to start him. Travis Kelce played pretty well. Devin Singletary, definitely didn't mind you playing in your flex. I know, yes, Dameon Pierce came back. We had to see how that was going to be split up, but Devin Singletary got heavily involved in the passing game in this, and it showed. Yeah, Gabe Davis on your bench with 19, but you just never know what you're going to get from him every week. So unless you have someone on bye, I would continue to start Kirk and Tank Dell over Gabe Davis any week. So, but yeah, good week for Chance, man. But Josh Allen, just an absolute monster game. Connor Tuck, on the other hand, I mean, Tuck's team's been playing pretty well this year. Just didn't get a lot of production from Herbert. Herbert had a very disappointing game. James Cook played well. Raheem Mostert both played well. The running backs played great this week for you. It was your wide receivers that really came in and played bad. Other than Olave. Olave did get hurt at the end of that game, but he was on pace to probably get 20-plus this game if he would have not got hurt, so that kind of hurts you. Adam Thielen with almost a donut. That was very odd. Didn't get a lot of targets in that game. I wouldn't be too worried. I think you continue to start Adam Thielen going forward. Jamar Chase, we knew he would probably take a little bit of a downturn with no Joe Burrow. Didn't really play well this week. I would still, obviously, with his talent perspective, you got to continue to start him. You don't have anyone to start over him. So continue to start Jamar Chase. But, yeah, down week for him. But, yeah, anyways, really, wide receivers just disappointed you this week. You also got outplayed by QB tremendously. So if the opposing team's QB is putting up 30 more points than your QB, typically most of the time you're not going to win. So yeah, Josh Allen with a monster week. Chance is now 7-5. Tuck is now 7-5. So all right, next up we got Jack versus Bert. Looking into this matchup, Jack did have a chance to win. He did have Joshua Dobbs. If Joshua Dobbs would have had another monster game, he probably could have won this matchup. But 4 interceptions, played absolutely horrible. Joe Mixon with only 7, A.J. Dillon with only 9. I mean, Cooper Kupp with a disappointing week. Debo had a good week with 18. Jets defense played pretty decent. But yeah, very, very odd. With Cooper Kupp, for sure. Going forward, I think that is a little concerning with Joshua Dobbs. I don't really know. I mean, you could continue to start him every week, but who are they playing next? Or are they on bye? They are on bye, so either way, you're going to have to go get another QB. But, yeah, I would probably continue to just stash Joshua Dobbs for right now. But that was a very concerning game, seeing him throw 4 picks. So we go to Bert's team. Bert's team honestly didn't play the greatest, but they did enough to win. Lamar Jackson played okay. Nothing really good from the running backs. A.J. Brown didn't meet his projection. Devontae Adams didn't meet his projection. I mean, the majority of his players didn't meet their projections other than the Ravens defense, who put up 16. So that is honestly what carried you this week, Hayden, was the Ravens defense playing very well against the Chargers. And then just no one went off for Bert's team this week other than that defense. So, I mean, just got lucky that Jack didn't have a good week and ended up sneaking in a dub. So you'll take it any week. Bert is now 9-3, top of our league. Jack has now moved down to 7-5. So we got a lot of 7-5s in this league. Holy shit. Looking now, I mean, we're about to look at another 7-5. We got Andy here with a big dub against Crew. Both teams went off this week. This was the highest scoring matchup of the week. We look into this. Andy's team went off. Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, C.J. Stroud, absolute monster performances from your running backs and QB. I mean, what a week for Kyron. I mean, he went nuts. Bijan, great to see that Bijan finally had another breakout game because they're very rare to come by this year, but he did get involved. He played very well. Wide receivers played great too, man. Garrett Wilson played well, got that touchdown late in the game. Calvin Ridley is starting to come to life. Definitely had a great game too. Njoku, love him at tight end right now. He's getting a lot of targets. You do have Likely on your bench too, but Njoku, he's definitely going to be getting involved heavy. Herbert a little disappointing. Eagles defense didn't do well, but looking at the Cruz team, man, I mean, Jalen Hurts played very well. Jonathan Taylor played very well. Breece Hall, a little disappointing performance from him. DJ Moore and Devontae Smith both had great games. Really, Tyler Lockett and George Kittle is what hurt you. They just did not perform well whatsoever. 49ers defense played great, so if you would have gotten a little bit more production from the tight end and flex spot, this matchup would have been a lot closer. So that's where it hurt you the most. But yeah, big win for Andy. He now goes to 7-5, and Crew is now 4-8. Unfortunately, Crew is now in the talks for being last place, which I wasn't really expecting seeing his team going forward, but with a lot of injuries that have happened for certain teams, definitely Breece Hall has taken a little bit of a downturn. With Dallas Goedert coming back, Devontae Smith, I would continue to start him, but his production might go down a little bit. But man, it's just kind of crazy. Crew's team 4-8. I was not expecting that with how good his team looks too. So, the last matchup of the week was me and Carson. Carson was desperately needing to win this week, but I was too. If I wanted to continue to stay in the playoff hunt, I needed to get a win this week. My team performed very well, and Carson's team performed well too. Had me a little worried at the end of that game with Keenan Allen and Zay Flowers both playing very well. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence with 31 finally made the right start this week, Carson, which was good. Geno Smith had a horrible game, so Trevor Lawrence with the breakout game, that was good to see. Tony Pollard with the touchdown, played very well too. Javonte Williams a little bit disappointing. But yeah, wide receivers played great. Dalton Kincaid and Jackson Smith-Njigba, definitely a little bit of a downhill turn for both of them this week. Cowboys defense played great too. That's typical. They've been playing great all year. Matt Prater, -3. Definitely hurt you a little bit. Getting nothing from your kicker. So, yeah, looking at my team, man, Mahomes, just happy that Mahomes finally had a pretty decent game. Played very well against Vegas. My running backs didn't really play well this week. Wide receivers kind of carried the load. Ramondre Stevenson did play great, though, and I love seeing that. I think Ramondre Stevenson is probably the only startable option in New England at this point, so I will continue to start him. Yeah, man, Tyreek Hill doing Tyreek Hill things. I feel like I say that every week, but I mean, dude, he's putting on a clinic. Brandon Cooks, good to see him finally have another good game, man. Brandon Cooks definitely took him a while to get into the flow of this offense, but I mean, the last 5 weeks he's put up 12-1, 27-5, 15. He's kind of like Gabriel Davis too. I mean, you just don't really know what you're going to get every week from him. Very happy about seeing Rashee Rice break out. Probably going to start him this next upcoming week. Hopefully this game shows that he is finally going to be WR1 in this offense, other than obviously Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce is still going to be number one. But good to see that he could be a viable number two for Mahomes going forward. So definitely probably going to start him over Cooks this week. But yeah, man, 130-119. I'm now 6-6 in the playoff hunt. Carson is now 3-9, bottom of the league. Gonna need to pull out some wins, Carson. It's gonna get interesting. All right, let's go ahead and go check out Week 13 projections now. We got a couple good matchups coming up this week. I mean, these games are all huge for us. So, first matchup we got Jack versus Crew. So yeah, Jack is gonna have to start a different QB this week. Gonna have to go pick up another kicker. So these projections are kind of off. We'll see what the projections look like whenever he does add a QB. But from what it looks like, he's probably gonna get about 20 from whatever QB picks up. So that'll put him to 85, and then probably go around 92 when adding a kicker. Good news is you're most likely going to have Dallas Goedert back, so I would definitely start Goedert over Jonnu Smith all day. Jonnu Smith has taken a downhill. His snap count is starting to go down too, so I would definitely probably start Goedert if he's good to go this week. Other than that, looking like you have everyone you should start this week. You got some bye weeks in effect with Jacoby Myers and Dobbs too. Looking at this matchup, Crew's team overall is just looking a lot better. Most likely going to be having A-Chain come back this week, so that'll be huge. You do have DJ Moore on bye. You got to throw Marquise Brown and Devontae Smith in there, so we'll kind of see how they both play. Marquise Brown had a pretty breakout game last week, which was good to see. I would expect him to play better with Kyler Murray back, but it's been kind of the other way lately, but good to see that he finally had a good game. So, man, either way, Crew's team's looking good this week, projected 113. I would definitely ride with Crew this week. Jalen Hurts is going to be better than any QB that Jack starts on waivers. Give me Jonathan Taylor and A-Chain over his running backs all day. This is the toss-up right here, especially with after Cooper Kupp's last week. And they're taking on Cleveland. But Devontae Smith is taking on San Francisco. So both tough matchups for both of them. I don't really know who to take on this. That's just a toss-up. I can't even say. I would probably take Debo over Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown has a tough matchup against Pittsburgh this week. George Kittle over Jonnu Smith. But if Goddard comes back, I might take Goddard over Kittle. Cortland Sutton or Breece Hall, I'd go Breece Hall. Against Atlanta. So, defenses, you got 49ers taking on Philly, Jets taking on Atlanta. I'd probably go with the Jets defense against Atlanta. The Jets defense is really good. They did give up 34 last week, but they still put up 13 points or something like that for them giving up 34. So, give me Crew this week. I think Crew's going to get the dub. His team just looks better this week. Bye weeks are definitely taking effect for Jack. Next up, we got Bryce and Connor. Man, this is a big game too. A lot of implications here. If Connor gets the dub, he'll go to 7-6. Bryce will go to 7-6. But if Bryce wins, he'll go to 8-5. Connor will go to 6-7, and he'll most likely be out of the playoff hunt. So this is a huge game right here. Very close projections too. Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott? I think I'm going to have to take Dak. Dak has just been hot lately. I'm going to continue to ride with Dak. Eckler or Rachaad White? This one's a little bit of a toss-up. With how Eckler's been playing lately, it's been very concerning. I do want to take Eckler over Rachaad White, but Rachaad White's got such a good matchup against Carolina. Give me Rachaad White this week. Zay Pacheco or Chuba Hubbard? I would go Pacheco for sure. Amon-Ra over Jonathan Mingo. Looks like you are going to start T. Higgins. Since Stephon Diggs is on bye, as well as Gus Edwards. So definitely got to be the starts you got to take. Hopefully he's healthy, ready to go. If not, you're probably going to have to throw Jameson Williams or maybe throw Tajay Spears in there and throw Jaden Reed up there. Dalton Schultz against Denver, Jaden Reed. Let's see. Dalton Schultz or Evan Ingram. I'd probably go with... I don't know. Denver's defense has been playing very well as of lately, but with how hot Houston is, just continue to give me Dalton Schultz. I want to say Puka over Jaden Reed, but with how both got tough matchups. I would still say probably Puka. I feel like he's more solidified. Patriots defense against Patriots taking on Chargers, Lions taking on New Orleans. I'd probably go Lions here. Patriots defense has just been up and down. Yes, the Chargers didn't play well this last week, but I think the Chargers offense is going to play pretty good against the Patriots. So I'd probably go with the Lions defense this week on that. But yeah, man, who am I going to pick in this matchup? Damn. It is a toss-up for sure. Oh, man, I don't know. This is tough. I might lean towards Bryce a little bit this week. But if Dak has another 40-point performance, that's kind of hard to beat. So we'll see what happens. I'll continue to go with Bryce, though. Next up, we got Andy and Seth. Seth needing a must-win here. Andy also needing a win, too, if he wants to for sure solidify his playoff position, because if he does lose, it could get interesting if he ends up dropping another game next week or the week after that. But Give me CJ over Jordan Love all day. Kyron Williams over Brian Robinson all day. Bijan over James Conner all day. Mike Evans or Garrett Wilson. I'd probably take Mike Evans for sure, against Carolina especially. Calvin Ridley or Brandon Ayuk. I'd probably go Ayuk. Njoku or Trey McBride. Ooh, this one's a toss-up. Both are really good tight ends. Looking at matchups, Trey McBride looks like he's got a little bit of a tough matchup, but the Rams have a pretty decent secondary too. I don't know. That one's a toss-up. I'd probably go Trey McBride just because Njoku is going to have P.J. Walker passing him the ball instead of Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who really likes him a lot. But if Dorian Thompson-Robinson comes back, I would maybe take Njoku because of his targets. Aaron Jones or Amari Cooper. Give me Aaron Jones if he's healthy against KC. Tough matchup, but I just do not like Cleveland's offense right now, so I wouldn't start Amari Cooper at all, but you really have no choice. So it could be interesting if Noah Brown comes back. That, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind Amari Cooper, but Noah Brown went off those 2 weeks. 20 and 24. You could maybe throw Noah Brown in there, but it is a risk, that's for sure. Looking at this matchup, man, Jefferson on bye, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, you have everyone you can start this week, Seth. This is another close projection. This is going to be a toss-up for me. I do like Andy's team more, running back and QB-wise. I think they're going to have another great week, even though Kyron Williams has a tough matchup against Cleveland. Bijan does have a tough matchup against the Jets. So those matchups are very tough. But yeah, I think I'm going to take Andy this week. What do you think of JT news? JT news. Jonathan Taylor? What happened? The injury? I didn't even see this. What happened? Suffered a thumb injury? Will cause further evaluation and could threaten his availability moving forward. Didn't provide any indication that Taylor emerged from the Week 12 contest with an injury. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know about that. If Zach Moss is available in your league, which he might, go pick him up just in case. Because, Zach Moss played amazing whenever he was out. So, if he is available, try to go pick him up. Just in case, just to have that handcuff. 20-team PPR roster: Lamar, JT, Aaron Jones, Tyreek, DJ Moore, Kelsey, Kirk. I got J-Mo, Pop, Douglas, Everett, and Wicks as decent bench guys. What do you see as possible moves? So I'm not gonna lie. So what's your record? Are you like trying to fight for a playoff spot? Are you solidified in a playoff spot? Because I would maybe shop Aaron Jones if he comes back and try to see if you could maybe get. You could maybe put him and like Kirk in a package deal. And see if you could go get like a really good running back. You got JT, but if you can go get another solid running back, like for example, let's look here. You could maybe try to go get Rashad White. You could try to go get Pacheco. Kyron Williams had a breakout game. I would even like going and getting him too. Josh Jacobs is on bye. Kamara maybe. Yeah, I would say for you, I would probably go do like a little package deal with those two and see if you can go get a solid running back. There's a lot of good running back options out there. And I think if someone sees Aaron Jones and Christian Kirk, if they're in need of some depth, that would definitely be the move I would make. I wouldn't give up Tyreek or DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is going to continue to play very well with Justin Fields being the QB. First in my division, but not locked. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you could ride it out with this team, man. Aaron Jones could come back and play well. But if you do want to make any moves, I would definitely probably recommend Aaron Jones and Christian Kirk and see if you could go get a really solid running back to pair up with JT. But yeah, if there's any way you could go get Zach Moss, which I don't know if he'll be available in your league. Some people dropped him. Yeah, just because of the JT situation too, I would definitely try to go get a running back. No doubt. I wouldn't shop JT though. Don't shop JT. Continue to have him. He's not available. Damn. Yeah, I would just definitely try to, if you want to go get a running back, I would definitely put Aaron Jones and Kirk in a package, see what you can get, man. For sure. I was going to say, I wouldn't expect you to, with a 20-team PPR, I would have been shocked if you had Zach Moss on waivers, just because of how much depth you have to have in a league like that. Yeah. I would definitely do that and see what you could get, man. There's a lot of good running backs to go get, so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get back with this matchup real quick. Who do I got winning this week? I want to say Andy for sure. I just like CJ Stroud a lot. I think his running backs look better, so give me Andy this week. Next up, we got Dylan and Carson. Looking into Dylan and Carson's matchup, this one, Carson's looking like he's got a pretty good spot with Saquon and TJ Hawkinson being on bye. So, man, that's good news for Carson here. He does have Zay Flowers and Dalton Kincaid on bye, so you're going to have to go pick up a tight end. But, yeah, man, I mean, that's looking pretty solid for Carson this week. Very low projections for both. I mean, yeah, he might start Parham. I don't know. Everett's back in that offense. I'd probably go pick someone else up. We just don't have a lot of tight ends available in this league. Jones and Pop Douglas for ETN. You could try it. If I had ETN, I would definitely not make that trade, but, I mean, it doesn't hurt to try, you know? I mean, definitely doesn't hurt to try to see if you could get ETN, because I love ETN too. And if he doesn't take that, then throw Kirk and Jones in there and see what he does. Because I would definitely go get ETN if you can. Now, looking at these matchups, I'd probably take Trevor Lawrence over Jared Goff. Javonte Williams over any running back he starts. Tony Pollard or Najee Harris. I'd probably go Tony Pollard. Keenan Allen or Jalen Waddle. Give me Keenan. Curtis Samuel or Drake London. This one's a little bit of a toss-up. Curtis Samuel had a massive game last week. Has a better matchup than Drake London does this week. I don't know. Probably Drake London, just because of how spread out that offense is in Washington. Nothing to really talk about with tight ends. Christian Watson over Jackson Smith for sure. Seahawks taking on Dallas. Dallas taking on Seahawks. Give me Dallas defense all day. Carson, you're going to win this week, I believe. I think Dylan's team is just plagued with those bye weeks. That's going to suck for him. He's got two of basically his top guys not playing this week, so I would go ahead and say Carson's going to win this week, which will be huge. That'll put you back at 4-9. You just need Seth, Kyle, or Crew to lose this week. All right. Next up, we got Kyle versus Bert. Definitely got bye weeks in effect for Bert, too. No Lamar Jackson, no Jordan Addison, no Devontae Adams. So that's going to really plague him this week with that. Looking into Kyle's team, no bye weeks in effect. Kenneth Walker might be coming back. That's huge. So you're going to probably start him over Royce Freeman all day. Going to have to go pick up a defense, too. I'm really liking Kyle's team this week just because of the bye weeks in effect for Hayden. Give me Tua over any QB he starts. Derrick Henry or Jalen Warren. I'd probably go Derrick Henry. I think this matchup might be a little close, so I would definitely go Derrick Henry this week. Jahmyr Gibbs over Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker's got a tough matchup with Dallas this week. CD or A.J. Brown, I'd take CD. I think he's got the better matchup. A.J. Brown's going against San Francisco. Terry McLaurin over whatever wide receiver he starts. Sam Laporta or Jake Ferguson. This one's a little bit of a toss-up. I'd probably go Laporta. Deontay Johnson or Zach Charbonnet. If Charbonnet is RB1, I would take him. But if it is Kenneth Walker, I'm gonna have to say Deontay Johnson. But overall, man, I like Kyle's team this week. I think Kyle's going to get the dub just because of the bye weeks for Bert. So, all right, next up we got Chance versus Jace. No Josh Allen for Chance this week. That's going to definitely hurt him tremendously. No Josh Jacobs for Kalen. That definitely hurts your team a little bit. But Jace's team's looking pretty solid this week. He's going to Kyler Murray's going to outperform whatever QB Chance starts, I believe. McCaffrey over ETN, you just have to say that. McCaffrey's better than ETN this year. David Montgomery over whatever running back Jace. I mean, Jace could throw in Alvin Kamara up there and then maybe start Guyton or maybe go pick up someone else, which is probably the move he's going to have to make. I'd probably take Kamara over Montgomery, though, if that ends up being the move you make. Godwin or Kirk. Give me Kirk. Tank Dell, Nico Collins. This one's a toss-up. I mean, you got two Houston guys going against each other. Fuck, man. I don't know. I'd probably go Tank Dell just because of his big playability. Kelsey over Hunter Henry all day. Devin Singletary probably over if you do start Guyton. So you're going to have to go pick up a defense too. Chances. Steelers defense against Arizona probably could play pretty decent. Arizona's offense isn't bad. Kyler Murray could play pretty well, but Steelers defense might play pretty well too, so we'll see. But yeah, who I got this week, I'll probably go with Jace this week. I think just because of the fact no Josh Allen for Chance, that's going to hurt him tremendously. So give me Jace this week. All right, and then last matchup, it's me and Tuck. This will be a good matchup, man. Currently, I have to get a defense and a kicker. He has James Cook on bye, which is huge. He's going to have to start Antonio Gibson, which I like. But yeah, man, I'd take Mahomes over Herbert. DeAndre Swift or Raheem Mostert. I'd probably go with Mostert. Mostert's got the better matchup. DeAndre Swift's got a really tough matchup against San Francisco this week. Jerome Ford or Antonio, give me Ford. He's going to get more volume, I believe, in Cleveland going forward. Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase. Tyreek Hill all day. Rashee Rice or Adam Thielen. This one's a little bit of a toss-up. Adam Thielen, after the week he had, definitely a little concerning. Rashee Rice, hopefully, will play well this next upcoming week. I don't really know what to say about this one. This one's a little bit of a toss-up. I might lean towards Thielen a little bit. Pat Freiermuth or Taysom Hill. This one's a toss-up too. Pat Freiermuth with a huge week last week. Definitely a good buy low option. Very good start this week for him. Will he continue to play that way, though? Will he put up another 20 ball? I don't know. Taysom Hill going up against Detroit. I'd probably go Freiermuth. I like the matchup more for Freiermuth. Olave or Stevenson. This one's a little bit tough. I'd probably go Stevenson. Chris Olave with the concussion and everything. We'll see if he even plays. Personally, I hope I don't know, because I have him in one of my other leagues, and I need to win in my other league too. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. It would be nice if he didn't play, but also it would hurt me tremendously in my other league. So, but yeah, this is going to be a close matchup, man. I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. I will be projected to win once I have a defensive kicker, but yeah, it'll be a good matchup. Definitely intrigued for this. Need to get a win too. I need to fucking get a win. So we'll see what happens. All right, boys, let's go ahead and check out some of the projected playoff bracket real quick. So I am now fit in the playoffs barely, and I would be taking on Bert if it ended today. So it's good to see that I'm finally in the playoff race. I just need to get these last 2 wins to solidify it. Everyone else that is in the playoffs other than Bert is 7-5. So, I mean, I'm telling you, man, this is going to be a close race. All these matchups could be different going forward with people maybe dropping down, people maybe winning. So this is going to be very interesting going forward, man. These playoff matches are looking good, too. Bryce versus Chance, Jack versus Tuck, Andy versus Jace. These are some great matchups. So if it did end today. And we'll take a look at this consolation ladder real quick. So we do have 2 more 6-6s with Dylan and Connor still in the playoff race, so they shouldn't – I mean, they're both still in the playoff race. So now we look at the other teams. Unfortunately, it does not look like Crew, Kyle, Carson, or Seth are going to make the playoffs this year. Very unfortunate for them, but it is looking like they are going to have to duke it out to see who is last place. All right, so there's the playoff brackets. Let's look at the standings. So right now, SGS East, 3 7-5s. Dylan and me are both 6-6. Kyle and Crew are 4-8. Bert in SGS West 9-3 already clinched his playoff spot. So congrats to Bert on that. We'll give him a round of applause. He is the first team in our league that is in the playoffs. So, and then we got 3 7-5s in SGS West with Tuck, Bryce, and Andy. We got Connor, who is 6-6. Seth and Carson at the bottom, 4-8, 3-9. So, man, oh man. And this is what really, I mean, let's look at this real quick. You know how much this, Kyle, I know you're hurt the most, dude. You put up 13-34 and you're 11th, but I am also hurt too, the fact that I am not over these two, having put up 13-43 and having 13-49 put up on me. Kyle, 14-36 is insane, man. I can't believe that. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, this is just how fantasy is sometimes. The points sometimes don't matter. It really is just the matchups. So, very unfortunate. I mean, what can you say? And it's the same with Crew, too. Crew's put up 13-18, giving up 12-98, and he's 12. So, I mean, that's just fantasy for you, man. It's very unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, my team has put up more points than 4 people above me. So, or no, 5 with Bert, too. 5 people above me. So, pretty crazy. Team that's put up the most points so far this year is Jace. So, Jace's team continues to put up PPR-wise the most, which is good, which is what I expected. I expected Jace's team to pop off this year, so let's look at the final standings projections. I definitely know some people have made some moves. So now I'm projected 7. Okay. Number 1 currently has to be Bert. Yep. 2 is Jace now. Went from 4 to 2. 3 is going to be Chance. Yeah, Chance. Tripping. So Chance is 3. Tuck is 4. Bryce is 5. Andy's 6. 7's me. 8 is Jack. 9 is going to be Connor. 10 is going to be Dylan. 11, Crew. 12, Kyle. 13, Carson. And 14 is, or no, sorry. 13 Seth, 14 is Carson. So, a little bit of some changes up there, man. Some big changes. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a tight race, man. Tight race, which is what I was expecting. I mean, a lot of our teams looked very even coming into this season, and my goodness, hasn't it shown? I mean, 6, 7, and 5s, and then we got 3 6 and 6s that could fit in the playoffs. So, I mean, that's 9 teams right there that 2 of them are not going to be in the playoffs. 2 of them are going to be in the playoffs this year. So, we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Add players. Let's check out some of these. I know some of us are going to probably need some QBs this week. You can't ever go wrong with Russell Wilson. They're taking on Houston. Russell Wilson's had a pretty decent season. So you could start him. Stafford had a pretty big week last week, but tough matchup against Cleveland. I'd probably avoid him. Other than that, not really interested in anyone else right now. You could maybe get Derek Carr, but I'd probably go with Russell Wilson, whoever needing a QB. I know Jack is needing one. Running back-wise, doesn't even matter. If you do need a running back, Samaje Perine, I guess. He had a pretty decent week last week. Maybe Kenneth Gainwell. Other than that, everyone else is useless. Wide receivers, really no one, to be honest with you. I wouldn't even pick up any of these wide receivers that are on our waivers. Maybe Michael Wilson. Maybe the only one that might be a little bit intriguing. Judson Watson might be a little bit intriguing. No one else. Tight end wise, not a lot of tight ends to pick up either. You could go Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson did play pretty well last week, so you got him. Gerald Everett too. Tyler Higbee too. So that's 3 tight ends that kind of played pretty decent these last couple weeks. I mean, Higbee put up 17. Everett did have a touchdown too. He put up 12. And then you look at Juwan Johnson, put up 6, but he did get 7 targets. So that's pretty interesting. So, yeah, I mean, if Chris Olave's out, I'd probably go Juwan Johnson. But, yeah, I mean, Higbee and Everett aren't too bad of starting spots, but they got tough matchups. So that is why their projections are very low this week. But, yeah, man. We'll look at defenses real quick. If y'all are needing to pick up some defenses this week, I'm definitely liking Falcons' defense against the Jets. I'd start any defense over the Jets at this point. Colts against Tennessee could be a pretty decent one too. Buccaneers against Carolina. Chargers against New England. I probably wouldn't even pick up the Chargers' defense in general though. Rams against Cleveland, that's another pretty decent one. Yes, the Rams defense hasn't been great all year. They haven't put up a lot of points as a defense. I think they are 31. But back-to-back weeks was 7. So, I mean, they could just put up another 7 for you. So, but they could play better. We'll see. But, yeah, that's some of the teams I'd probably go and try to get. I don't think we've had any moves happen, really. Any trades that I can think of. Has there? I don't think there's been any trades at all. Yeah, no trades to talk about really. Yeah, no trades to really talk about. So I think that's it, boys. I think I've pretty much gotten into everything, man. This is going to be fun to watch these next 2 weeks. Who's going to get in the playoffs? Who isn't? But yeah, boys, let's keep grinding it out. I will be back next week. And we will see who's in the playoffs and who isn't coming into next week. So, all right, man. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Happy holidays.